On the hunt for comfortable, timeless Western boots? You already know the best place to shop for quality boots is at your local Tecova store. So stop by Tecovas Nashville, at the Mall at Green Hills, or on Broadway by Ryman Auditorium. That's right, you now have 2 locations to choose from. Grab a cold one as you shop and get fitted by a pro. Tecovas Nashville is at your service, and you can find your perfectly fitted dream boots with the help of their expert staff. Everyone will be asking where you got your sick new boots, but I won't be asking because I know they must be Tecovas. That's TECOVAS.com. Don't go gently, y'all.
Today on CityCast Nashville, it's time for our Friday News Roundup. We always like to end the week with the biggest news stories in town and break them down for you with journalists, comedians, and anybody else we can convince to come on the show. Today, I'm joined by Nashville Scene columnist and CityCast Nashville contributor Nicole Williams and executive producer Whitney Pastorek. Nicole gives us a look behind the scenes at the Metro Council meeting this week and provides context as to why a contract with Fusus, a surveillance tech company, did not pass. She shares with us the vibe in the room, as well as her opinion on why she thinks this type of surveillance will be up for discussion again in the future. We also celebrate the release of Nashville Scene's annual Boner Awards, spotlighting this year's biggest screw-ups and share our favorites from this year's list. And finally, it's that time of year for the 2024 Music Wrapped Rankings, and Nashville's top songs will leave you maybe shocked, maybe even a little sad and ready for a nap. Stick around to find out which ones made the list. It's Friday, December 6th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Nicole, it's been over a month since we've seen you, and it's such a joy to have you back. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Just happy to be alive.
Happy to be alive.
Happy to be alive.
All right, so we want all the tea about what's been going on at the Metro Council, especially how the night unfolded this past Tuesday when Fusus did not pass by 1 vote. Remind us what Fusus is and tell us what happened.
Fusus is a technology platform that allows law enforcement agencies to integrate and centralize data from a variety of sources. And the real controversy around this contract request that came before the council was the inclusion of a private camera integration and registration function of Fusus.
So you mean like cameras that businesses own?
Yes.
It would have included apartment buildings too, because apartment buildings are, quote, businesses.
Yeah. That was one of the big sort of sticking points and something that the MMPD representative was pretty, kind of fluid on the definition there, because MMPD has said the only people we want to have either real-time access to the footage or like we can tap in directly to your camera are quote unquote commercial properties. So you might think that's like the corner store or the Walmart, but because apartment buildings are technically classified as commercial properties, you could have apartment buildings integrating their cameras. And this sort of brought up a lot of questions about, like, why are we valuing the privacy of single-family homeowners more than we are the privacy of people who live in apartments who are, disproportionately members of minority groups and disproportionately low income?
And I do understand from talking to Councilmember Erin Evans that she was in favor of Fusus in large part because of chaos happening at apartment buildings in her district and concerns from residents within those apartment buildings. So it does sound like some people felt that this would have a legitimate use.
Yeah, absolutely. I see the arguments in favor of Fusus because intuitively we want to believe that increasing efficiency leads to better outcomes. Like, we want to believe that if police can solve crimes faster, then our communities will be safer.
Right. But Marie, you brought something up earlier this morning.
Yes, I had a question for Whitney first thing and just asked, the CEO of United Healthcare was just gunned down in New York City. And the police are making a broad statement of using their cameras to try to find this person, but then also asking the general public for their help because the cameras haven't found this person yet. So do they work?
Yeah, it's definitely not a panacea. Like, this is not going to solve all of the issues that police have with solving crimes because they still have to locate the people who are doing the things. And this is just one piece of that process. But something that Councilmember Jordan Huffman, who was very staunchly in support of this contract, spoke about was the idea that people who commit violent crimes may be more likely to commit more violent crimes in the future.
And then obviously there were plenty of council members who were not staunchly in favor of this and in fact were staunchly opposed. What were some of the most persuasive arguments you heard against the expansion of this technology?
I would say probably the most poignant speech was from Councilmember at Large Olivia Hill, who is the council's first transgender member. She spoke incredibly passionately with tears in her eyes about the fact that in the state of Tennessee, her existence is a crime. The fact that she dresses as a woman but was born as a male is a crime. So there were no amount of safeguards in her mind that would account for the fact that she lives every day in fear of being called a criminal for who she is.
I think another thing that really stood out to me, and Nicole, this is something I've heard you talk about before, is Councilmember Emily Benedict from District 7. She sent out an email that laid out her rationale very clearly ahead of the meeting. And the short version of it was, my constituents don't want this, so I'm not going to vote for it. And this is something I've heard you talk about, Nicole, is that, these council members, they hear from us, but are they in fact doing the wishes of the people in their district? How do you think that shook out this time around?
I think it's pretty difficult on an issue as emotional, personal, and controversial as surveillance, because there are council members. I will use Councilmember Sandy Ewing as an example. She unfortunately had a health scare right before the meeting, and so she had to leave and get medical attention. But she represents a very white, very wealthy district. I spoke with her, and most of the people from her district who contacted her were in favor, but she was prepared to vote no. And she was prepared to deal with the fallout of voting no. And in fact, she, in her newsletter, is sharing that she decided, I'm going to vote no because I hear the concerns of the people who don't live in my district.
That's so interesting.
And I think it's really important for council members to remember, yes, you represent the people in your district, but the votes you take affect the entire county.
And in this case, we saw something like, 46 different organizations all across the spectrum who came out against this and signed a letter. And it was a really broad coalition.
So the vote was 20-18 in favor of Fusus. Why didn't it pass?
Great question. So there is a little known provision of the Metropolitan Code of Ordinances that requires any sole source contract. So that's like, you're the only organization that provides this very specific thing we want. And so we're not going through the normal procurement process and bidding it out to get, different bids from people. Any sole source contract for over $250,000 has to receive 21 affirmative votes. So instead of just most contracts, which only require a majority of those present and voting, this one needed 21 affirmative votes. It lost by 1 vote.
Boop, 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 boop.
But I think it's important to realize that this is not the end. I fully expect that we will see another attempt. And it's very important to recognize that there was a member absent on Tuesday, Councilmember Jennifer Gamble, who was almost certainly a vote in favor.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell is continuing to rally forces behind it, even though I'm quite confident he has heard from his constituents about how they feel. What do you think that this all means for the future of license plate readers, which we know are coming back around next year?
I've seen some speculation, even from reporters, that this might mean license plate readers are dead or that it's very tenuous and likely to fail. But for the license plate reader contracts, which is what the council will be considering, that's the next thing they'll be looking at for LPRs, because they've already said you can do it, but they still have to approve the contracts. Those contracts are not sole source. They went through procurement. I believe there will probably be 2 to 3 vendors that they'll be using. And those will require a simple majority of the council members present and voting. I can guarantee that there are people who voted no on Fusus who will vote yes on license plate readers. And 100% Councilmember Jennifer Gamble will vote yes on license plate readers because she was one of the chief proponents of license plate readers as they were being considered during the last council.
Well, so that's something to look forward to. I do want to emphasize, though, folks, that this meeting was such a great example of what Nicole has been preaching to our choir this entire time in the existence of CityCast Nashville, which is Metro Council meetings are exciting. There is drama. There is intrigue. That meeting came down to, as she mentioned, one vote. And there was this immense eruption in the gallery after that. Vote total popped up on the screen. I mean, the vibes were palpable.
Absolutely, even through the TV screen. It was something to behold. I think that it was so close. It was so close. There was literally last minute jockeying happening on the floor of the council, not people speaking on the floor, but people speaking to one another.
People running around.
Administration. Yes.
It was like a Survivor tribal council. There was people whispering in each other's ears.
It was a live tribal, Whitney.
Yes, it was a live tribal. That's how you do it at Metro Council.
Yeah.
Well, also some really exciting news. Cumberland Park has officially been renamed to Wasioto Park.
It has indeed.
Yes, happened on the same day. It was a big day.
Thanks in large part to Albert Bender, a local Cherokee activist in town who we had the honor of interviewing just a couple weeks ago. So please check out our episode, Why Our Indigenous Community Wants to Rename Cumberland Park.
They did it.
They did it. So that's so exciting. The Boner Awards are out, thanks to the Nashville scene.
Woo!
So every year since 1990, the Nashville scene has compiled a list of Boner Awards named for former mayor and hot mess Bill Boner. This year's list came out yesterday. Let's talk about our favorites. I remember when Bill Boner was mayor. That's how old I am and how long. Because as a child, I loved that my mayor was Mayor Boner.
What a time to be alive.
I wanted to say that's some low-hanging fruit, but that conjures up whole other images.
Yeah.
Nicole, what's your favorite Boner this year?
My favorite Boner Award was called Sign Me Up. It was about this drama surrounding the campaign of Nashville Democratic Representative Justin Jones and sort of tangentially the campaign of Nashville Metro Council member Jennifer Friendsley Webb, who was challenging an incumbent. Basically, each of them were like scraping by on the number of signatures that they needed.
So basically, to get your name on the ballot as a candidate, you need 25 signatures, correct?
Yes, you do.
How many signatures did these two get?
Justin Jones turned in 26 signatures.
Okay. And why is it important to turn in more than the 25 signatures, Nicole?
Because frequently signatures get thrown out for either they don't live in your district or the signature on the nominating petition does not match the signature on their voter registration card, or maybe they're not a registered voter. For any number of reasons, a signature can be thrown out. So to be safe, just get 50. Jennifer Webb also turned in, I think, just like 27 or 28, but at the election commission meeting where, first of all, it was a marathon election commission meeting. It was like Davidson County Election Commission after dark because it went until like midnight or 1 a.m. I was there. Who knows? I'm sure I blacked out at some point. Her opponent, incumbent Representative Bo Mitchell, challenged some of the signatures on her nominating petition. And during the meeting where she had witnesses like being like, yes, I signed it, one of the signatories admitted to a felony.
Oh, what?
He had signed her petition on behalf of his son, who's in the military, which is a felony. So that was kind of a mess. The commission was taking testimony over like FaceTime calls, like waking people up. Someone was at the beach and got a phone call. Like, it was crazy. Believe me, the drama was there. So I was very pleased to see that show up on the list this year.
Kids, if you're running for office, get 50 signatures.
Just get 50 signatures.
Whitney, what's your favorite boner award?
Oh, I've got a two-way tie this year, Marie. It's a tie between the lady who's suing beloved East Nashville institution Roy's Meat Service because she bought the house behind Roy's Meat Service and then complained that the smell from the smokers was ruining her life. And I will once again, for I think the third time on this show, reiterate that I'm happy to trade houses with her whenever she would like, because A, I love the smell of smokers, and B, she lives within walking distance of the Shelby Dog Park. So she's a huge boner. Essentially, the neighborhood rallied behind Roy's, and I love a quote from the story in the Tennessean when this started to really pick up some steam. He said the lawsuit has only helped his business. He said, I'm doing twice as much. If she'd have just left it alone, there'd have been a lot less smoke, a lot less people coming in and out, a lot less cars parked in front of her house. Quote, sometimes you've got to watch what you wish for. So congrats to you, lady suing Roy's Meat Service. And then my other favorite one is Vanderbilt arresting CityCast Nashville guest and wonderful journalist Eli Modica, who was on campus covering the pro-Palestine protests earlier this year when Vandy police arrested him for being there. And I just want to remind everybody that Vanderbilt prides itself on having a First Amendment center on their campus. So why they're arresting journalists, your guess is as good as mine. But those are my two faves.
Well, I like to shout out Beyonce whenever I can. And so mine is Plan B.
No.
Whitney.
B. It's B. It's pronounced B.
Bay.
B.
Bay.
Don't.
It's B.
Marie, we're going to get calls.
Yeah.
Plan B.
Thank you.
And we all know that Beyonce was snubbed this year at the CMA Awards. But don't worry, folks. Morgan Wallen, he was nominated for 7. He only got 1, which was Entertainer of the Year.
Is that supposed to be justice? Like justice for Beyonce?
You guys, calm down. It's
Y'all,
okay.
He got the same number of CMA awards as Boner Awards because Morgan Wallen also received a Boner Award this year for throwing a chair off the roof of Eric Church's bar.
Great Boner Award.
Congrats to him.
And then I just want to say, so Luke Bryant, I didn't know this, but I read in the Boner Awards listed on the Nashville scene that Luke Bryant had made comments about Beyonce and said that she needs to basically kiss the ring and learn how to cozy up to the mainstream country family if she wants to be a part of it. So thanks. Thank you for that, Luke Bryan.
Gross.
But I just want to mention Beyonce was nominated for 11 Grammys. So I will be tuning into the Grammys next year to watch.
That's correct.
Beyonce.
11. Most nominated ever for the Grammys, which is the Grammys don't honor Beyonce. Will she finally get record or album of the year? We don't know. It's not her strongest album. None of this is going in the show. What am I rambling about? People should definitely check out the full list at NashvilleScene.com. There's a whole lot in there about our state legislature and various Republican elected officials across the state of Tennessee. But none of that really feels revelatory because that just feels like, Friday.
They're always doing us proud.
Well, let's wrap this show up nicely today with talking about, end of year music wrap ups.
I love end of year music wrap ups.
I love it too. Although, thoughts on Spotify.
CityCast Nashville had 44 people who ranked CityCast Nashville as your top podcast.
I love that.
So thank you to the 44 of you.
Yes,
we appreciate you and we love you. And also Spotify.
That's so cool.
It is cool.
No,
Anyway,
that's really cool. Congratulations, y'all.
Thank you.
thanks, Nicole.
Pretty neat.
You're doing like a really cool, good thing.
Well, thanks to you for constantly coming on and helping educate our listeners
Putting
too.
up with
You
us.
add to this. So
But yes, the Spotify Wrapped released the top 5 songs in Nashville. Very quickly, I'll just run down them. I Had Some Help, Post Malone and Morgan Wallen. The number 2, we'll come back to what was number 2. Number 3 was a bar song, parentheses, Tipsy by Shabuzi. Number 4, Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. Number 5 was I Remember Everything, Zach Bryan featuring Casey Musgraves. So those were the 4 real songs on the list. The 5th song coming in at number 2 was, wait for it, Clean Baby Sleep, White Noise, parentheses, Loopable.
I mean, I'm a big fan of White Noise. I have not listened to this particular track.
I haven't either.
But it's on the list now. It's
Yeah.
on the list.
Yeah. I'm going to have to check it out.
I have a baby machine, actually, a baby white noise machine that I used to travel with, but it would get pulled at the airport every time. And I'm like, it's my baby white noise machine. Please give it back
They don't
to
want
me.
you to sleep well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested in what people think of this list. Did the two of you listen to these songs? I have to, Team Be Real did not. I don't listen to these songs.
I do. I have to admit, a bar song by Shabuzi was one of the most earworm, listenable tracks. Love a good Instagram reel or TikTok video paired with that song. So I agree with that. And I love that he's a Nashville artist. So good to see Shabuzi on there.
Yep.
I have a confession.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, I love it.
I love the song I Had Some Help
Nicole.
by Post Malone featuring Morgan Wallen, who is apparently the star of this episode of CityCast. I try, sometimes you have to separate the artist from the art.
Oh, sure.
And that song is just so damn catchy. I love the little crossover with Post Malone. He's country now. Everyone's country now. That's cool. I don't actually like country music that much. That's another confession. But this song in particular is just very pleasing to me. My partner is mortified about that. I think maybe she almost broke up with me when I admitted that to her.
Well, I mean, the good news for you, Nicole, is that song's not country music. So you
Yes.
don't actually like country. You like whatever this hybrid
Whatever
rock.
this is.
I also want to point out that Post Malone did quite well at the CMA Awards. Noted country industry outsider Post Malone seemed to
I
have no
guess he
problems.
kissed the ring.
Cozied up.
Cozied
He
up.
cozied up.
He cozied up. But also, I just want to say, Sabrina Carpenter, I love her so much. I think Espresso is probably my least favorite song on Short and Sweet.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's a skip for me. Probably because it was like so overplayed that it's just, I'm done hearing it. But there are some real bangers, and I highly recommend.
Well, Sabrina Carpenter's Christmas special is airing this weekend on Netflix on Saturday, December 6th.
Great to know. That's not
So-
hyper local, but we'll allow it.
My local girlfriends and I will be gathering around the television.
I want to point out that I Had Some Help. That song took 8 songwriters
Oh, wow.
to create, 8 of them, 8 songwriters.
And I respect all of their work, and I love that song
Excellent.
for the work of those 8 songwriters.
Bar Song only had 5 songwriters. Espresso had 4. And shout out to I Remember Everything. That was just Zach Bryan and Casey Musgraves writing that song. And it is a beautiful ballad. That's my favorite one on this list. I like it a lot. But these all share, with the exception of Baby Sleep, White Noise Time, these all share one very specific theme, which is that apparently Nashville is drunk and sad.
And needs to go night-night.
Night-night.
Yeah.
Marie, let's end with this. Who was our most listened to artist overall? Go ahead.
Nicole, I'll give you one guess.
Beyonce.
No!
Wait, in Nashville or you?
Just overall, Nashville's top artist.
Morgan Wallen.
Thank God, no.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, I forget about her.
Well, Nashville doesn't forget about her. I tell you what,
And neither
because
does Marie.
I know. This weekend is her last weekend of the Eras Tour, not local.
Which has been going on for 27 years.
Like our entire lives, Nicole. But it's happening in Vancouver. But the Tennessean did write. The Taylor Swift reporter, Brian West, wrote an article for the Tennessean about how Taylor Swift is a global star, but Nashville remains the heart of her empire, which is true. Most of her enterprises still are attached to Tennessee, thanks to our income tax break. But, people...
No, it's because she loves us so much.
She loves Nashville. Well, she votes here and her parents live here. And sometimes her plane, I don't know why I know this, but her plane comes here first after a lot of her Eras tour shows.
All right, Marie, stop embarrassing yourself.
I know. I love it.
But congrats to Taylor.
Shout out to Tay.
All these other artists and everyone really on making it through this year. Thank you for sharing your Spotify Wraps with me. It's so important for me to know who your top songs were.
I'm going to go turn on the white noise and go to bed like the rest of Nashville should. Thanks, Nicole, for joining us.
Thank you both. It
Once
was
again,
wonderful
we
to be here.
We cannot end this show without it being like a bag of cans
Goodbye.
falling down a staircase.
We just insert white noise.
Take a nap. Everybody take a nap.
We'll take it out with white noise.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. Our executive producer is Whitney Pasternak. Our producer is Zoe Colkin. Our Hey Nashville newsletter editor is Margaret Kingsbury. Our theme music is by Prof Jenkins. If you enjoy the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!